Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first official episode of Cat in the Chats. I'm Kat. I am your host, and honestly, I'm your last standing member of the former podcast, the Homie Trinity. I am 1/3 of the podcast that was wildly successful, regionally hated, locally hated. I think that's a brand, locally hated. I love that name, and I wish I had trademarked it. Anyways, I am just here to keep the podcast going. Formerly we were the Homie Trinity, and my friend Sarah, she got accepted into PA school in Virginia, so she had to up and leave Charlotte. And Megan, my roommate, she's just busy. I had to be the solo artist of the group. I'm like Beyonce. I'm like Justin Timberlake. I'm Harry Styles. I'm Camila Cabello. I had to go solo. And so basically our schedules didn't work, and I really liked podcasting, and I wanted to keep talking because luckily for me, I have the gift of gab. I can just run this mouth all day. Sometimes I just really want to chat. I fortunately am very entrenched in the world that is my cell phone. I really love pop culture. I love all things. Hold on, I feel like I'm like scared. I literally have paranoid schizophrenia. Okay, I'm like spooked because I ran into this guy today in the elevator, like on the way up, and I was like, how's your day going? And he was like, been better. And I was like, could tell he wanted me to ask him because like he clearly wanted to elaborate, because when people have a bad day, like they want sympathy. And I was like, oh really, why, what happened? And he said somebody slashed all three of my tires or something. Like it was some strategic stuff. And I was like, oh my god, do you have any enemies? Like, did you do anything to specifically someone, like maybe a woman? And he said, no, I have absolutely nobody who doesn't like me. And that's what I told the police. And I was like, oh god, well, it sounds targeted. And then he said, yeah, and on Saturday somebody broke into my apartment with a crowbar. I was like, that's really scary considering we live on the same floor and there's someone breaking into someone's apartment with a crowbar around here. Anyways, he elaborated and was like, seems like somebody's out to get me. And I was like, feels so. Seems like your car got its tires slashed and your apartment got broken into. Like, one, how did they know you weren't going to be home on Saturday night? That's scary. Second of all, he told me that his neighbor didn't want to give the police the Ring camera of hers. She's hiding something. Third of all, I'm just like scared that this breaker-inner is outside my door looking into my peephole, perceiving that there's little pockets of light on in the room and is trying to attack me. So I have a chair completely blocking the doorway just in case, somebody tries to get frisky with a door handle. I'm trying to keep this place locked up, trying to stay safe, but I'm also like very paranoid. Like I'm always very skeptical and paranoid. So that sort of just is part of who I am, and thanks for listening to that tangent. That didn't matter at all, but basically I just kind of want to give some backstory. That's why I'm talking so quietly. It's because I'm worried. I'm worried that this bad guy's going to get me. Anyways, long story short, if you used to follow my Finsta, Ryan Seacrest's biggest fan, I've turned it into my podcast account. Primarily because I already had about a few followers, a decent amount, and they're kind of like ghost followers because everyone abandoned their Finstas collectively in like 2021 because it became no longer cool and phased out, which is weird as a phenomenon on social media. But I turned my Finsta into the podcast account, so I wanted to give some context to sort of my personality, who I am, my processes, a little bit of a back. Bro, the air turned on and I'm so spooked. I'm literally spooked. I also smoked before this. So that's probably why I'm like literally so paranoid. Usually I have like a fun bubbly high, but this one is like spooktacular. I have ADD too. That's one thing you need to know about me. I have attention deficit disorder, but I've got a really bad case of it. And luckily, I'm somewhat medicated, but I have the kind of Adderall where it works for like 3 or 4 hours. And then you have like the option to take 2 during a day, but I usually take the first one like late morning, afternoon, before I like really grind out my work day. And it's worn off clearly. So I'm recording this quite literally. I don't know what time it is. I like don't 11:21. Oh my god, it's later than I thought. That's kind of weird. It's a little bit about me. I'm like kind of like borderline an egotistical maniac, and I'm kind of self-involved for even like wanting to do a podcast. I know it's like, oh, you love the sound of your own voice. Yup. And basically I just kind of want to be very real with you guys. I feel like I have like borderline insecure narcissism with like a touch of a victim complex, and by a touch I mean like more than a healthy amount. And I just kind of wanted to share a little bit about my personal life, my insight. I actually kind of know a lot about a little about a lot. I know a little about a lot. I just wanted to say thank you for joining me on this podcast journey. It's been a long time coming, as Taylor Swift would say, and I just think that it's time to be chronically online with me. Catching up since the last time the Homie Trinity heard from me. It's been a little while. It's been probably, I don't remember. It's been a while. Updates, I turned 24. Just recently I went to Nashville. And this was my second time going to Nashville. And if you know anything about Nashville, it's a little bit country, a little bit hood. That's a quote from Nene Leakes. We went to a bachelorette trip to Nashville recently. And we had the best time. We were giggle bots the whole weekend. Every day I was like laughing so hard that like laughing until my ribs get sore. So it was just so much fun. But I kind of have a few highlights of the trip. First of all, I'd like to talk about Buc-ee's. And what Buc-ee's is a Walmart looking sized warehousey hugeness gas station, but it's more than a gas station. Yes, there's several gas pumps and there's a pristine parking lot. But there's also a huge wall of sodas, drinks, t-shirts, bathing suit, glasses, home decor, food, pulled pork sandwiches, beaver nuggets, ice cream sandwiches. There's slushies. There's anything you could imagine from like a pit stop. It serves. And they have their own brand of things. And I'll just let you know my order. I got a pulled pork sandwich, and then I got the everything chips. So it was a mix of salt and vinegar, barbecue, sour cream and onion, and something else. Anyways, it was delicious and I loved it. And then I also got a pecan log. If you know, you know. Nobody really fucks with pecan logs like me, but they're delicious. And if you've been depriving yourself of it because of its weird shape and form, then you're missing out. So try a pecan log 2024 resolution. I also got a bag of Cheetos, and then my friends got a bag of Takis. And what I did was combine the bag of Takis with the bag of Cheetos, and I made an amazing mixture. And I had an iced coffee that I made myself. Warning, if you go to Buc-ee's, their iced coffee sucks. Even if it looks like you're going to make a glorious cup, there's an iced coffee machine. They have every creamer you could imagine. They have all these flavors. Yeah, I thought I made a scrumptious, delicious coffee. I tried it. Tastes like burnt cigarettes. Literally, it was still gas station coffee at the end of the day. So if I could give any tips to the Buc-ee's workers, please make a better brew, please, because it was really sucky. Anyways, that was my order. I probably got like a bunch of big sodas with it too, because I have to have a sody. And I didn't really go all out. I probably could have spent a lot of money at Buc-ee's and like really enjoyed all of its offerings, but I was in and out. I was the driver of the trip, so we had to get to Nashville. We had to get there, and those were my orders for when we went and came back. We stopped, and we went there twice, pretty much. But long story short, we got the coolest Airbnb. Basically, this Airbnb was like the boys' side of the house and then the girls' side of the house. The girls' side, there was like 11 of us or so, maybe more. It felt like a big group of girls. Like it was a bunch of us. Everyone slept comfortably. There was room for absolutely everyone. The house was awesome. There was like a mural of Dolly Parton on the wall. It was chic. It was country. You had a view of the Nashville skyline, and there was walking distance to an ABC store, to like a breakfast place, to like little brewery. Like it was a phenomenal location. So I definitely recommend you stay there, and I'm gonna leave the address of this Airbnb in the comments so that people can rent there, because I highly recommend it. Amazing experience. I'm going on and on about this house. I promise it was really cool. We get to this house and it's just so phenomenal, and these girls are so amazing. You know, I was like a little bit worried about going on a bachelorette trip with like people that were not in my immediate friend group, that I didn't know truly, like to be staying overnight and like, I don't know, being out of town and stuff. But these girls were fabulous. When I tell you, like, we'd wake up to like mimosas, Jack Johnson on the music, and banana pancakes, and then there would be like a charcuterie spread with a delicious coffee, and like every day it was just like we had a shirt to wear with a sash, and like I just felt so cared for, so provided for by the other bridesmaids. It was a phenomenal stay. Nashville, I couldn't recommend it enough as a bachelorette destination, and I know it's cliche, but it's the reason. Like, we had so much fun. Every night we went to this bar. We went to a few bars, but there was one that like really stuck out to us, and it was Jason Aldean's. I don't know really anything about Jason Aldean, but I know that he knows how to sign on to a damn good bar, because we had an amazing time every night. And listen to this. If you're going to go to like any bar ever, or if you're going to go somewhere where you know they don't check your purse, what you need to do, and listen up, is get one of those like mini bottle packs from the liquor store where you get like 12 or however many. You pregame as much as you want, whatever, at the house. Then when you go out, bring about 4, bring about 5. You know you're going to have 5 drinks. Let's say you bring 5 mini bottles. I had a purse that just had so many compartment hiding spots that people weren't going to check if they checked my bag. And no one checked my bag anyways. Like, I was fine. And I put a bunch of snotty tissues over my stuff so they didn't like really dig in my bag to get my mini bottles out. But basically, to all the bars, and please don't ban me from Nashville bars if y'all see this. Like, I'll pay, fine. If you like catch me, I'll pay. But so I brought like however many Crystal Light packets. My mini bottles were hidden in my bag, and I would ask for a water at the bar every single time. I'd get to my seat. I'd add my mini bottle. I'd add my Crystal Light. I'd take my big fat straw, because who wants one of those skinny stir straws? I'd find a big fat straw at the bar, and I stirred that shit up, and it was delicious. And you know who didn't have a hangover because I was drinking a water-based drink? Me, even though it was like alcohol, but still. It was an amazing life hack, and I didn't spend much money on drinks at all. Considering drinks are $15 a piece in Nashville, that's insane. I saved a lot of money. So if you guys are going there, that's a life hack. Hope you listen. Hope you can benefit from it. Long story short, do it like me. I kind of wanted to tell a brief story about one of the nights out in Nashville. So my friend who we were celebrating's wedding coming up, I'm not going to name names just because I'm going to keep all of my friends in this like anonymous realm when I tell stories, just so they can, I don't know, I can protect their privacy and stuff. But like, low-key, if you care enough, like, look at my Instagram, I don't know, like, stalk my social media. I'm an open book, and I really post so much about my life, so who cares, like, whatever. But anyways, I'm going to protect my friends for the sake of all these stories. But I have this friend who's getting married. She's one of my closest, most awesome, most fabulous, most phenomenal people I've ever met. She's getting married, and I'm so happy for her. And ever since my friend was a really little girl, she's had this really irrational fear of, well, I want to say it in a way that's PC or socially acceptable in a degree that won't get me canceled on my first episode. But basically, she's had a fear. Fear is not a good word. And honestly, please don't cancel me. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She feels it, not me. Like, this really strange overcoming shudder of anxiousness and uncertainty and apprehensiveness when she sees someone, a little person. I don't know if that's the term. I'm going to actually look up the correct term for that. 1 second. Let me look it up. So basically, these people have short stature due to like a medical condition. And I know it's wrong to talk about. And I don't ever want to be like talking bad about anyone that's disabled. I know that I'm just trying to give a disclaimer, like, this is not good, this is bad to say, but this is basically what happened. There's these terms called achondroplasia, mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. I cannot freaking read this word. Anyways, or nanosophobia. And I'm sorry if this isn't PC. Basically, she's got this anxiousness that comes around surrounding little people, and she's had it since she was a little girl. She told the story about she was a kid, she went to the supermarket, she was just a baby, and she saw like a little person, and it was like jarring for her in a sense because it was something unfamiliar to her. So she had like a a shocking moment. Similarly, I had sort of the experience as a child where I was afraid of characters like Disney, like people in costumes, like people in furry zip suits. I'm like, I know there's a person under there. As a kid, I knew that they were like, the trickery, I know you're faking it. Like, I was scared of Chuck E. Cheese. I was scared of Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse. I don't know, furry animals at Disney, or like people in character costumes. I've never liked it. Like Bigfoot. Anyways, not Bigfoot. Sesame Street bird. What's his name? What's the bird in Sesame Street's name? Does it have a name? I'm gonna look it up. Sesame. It's the yellow one. It's like the one. Yellow guy is the number one search. No, not this fella. Not him. Not him. Sorry for the reflection of my ring light and that, and I'm sorry if the audio is like insane there. Not Bert. Like the bird. Big Bird. It's Big Bird. His name's Big Bird. Just figured it out. Who cares? Why am I going on about this? Like, shut up, bitch. Long story short, I was saying my friend has this feeling that she gets and it was like a scary feeling. And long story short, we were telling her like we were going to go to the strip club. There was a strip club that had a few little people, and we were like excited to support them. We wanted to give them some money, some coins, and we were there to like cheer them on. Woo! Like give them their money, And she was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, let's just not do that. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And we were like, oh, okay. We won't do that. So we go out that night and we are all just like happy to be there. It's Saturday night in Nashville. It's one of the days where we knew we had time to party. Little do we know, a tiny little man walks up, and one by one we notice. We turn our heads and we see a man who's easily 3 foot. Like, it's the smallest of small little people that I've ever seen. Like, it could beat that record for the woman. You know who I'm thinking of. I'm going to post the picture like here or here of the woman that is like the smallest woman on earth. It was a competitor. Like, he was little too. He was just this happy-go-lucky, neat son of a gun. He was not very tall. He probably reached like, he was a very small man. Long story short, you get it. The point of like, he's small, whatever. He looks over and I'm squatted next to him and I said, do you get a lot of attention when you go out? And he was really excited to be there. And he was like, yeah, I always get a lot of attention when I'm out. And then his shirt, it said free and easy. And I just really liked that. He had a cute pair of little overalls on. It was like, oh, and I'm sorry. He was fitted up. He had these friends with him and his friends were cute. Like, hey, I remember telling him, I was like, oh my God, you guys look just alike. Like him and his normally tall sized friend. I was like, you guys look literally just alike. Are you brothers? And I was serious. He was like, no, we're not. And then looked to his friend. He was like, it's the second time tonight someone said that. And I was like, oh, it was just like such a hoot. And he was so fun. I just loved meeting him. And the joy he brought everyone was so amazing. Like, truthfully, we are very aware that this guy, he doesn't have a mental disability. He has a physical disability. His mind is just like anyone else's, and he's very socially aware that everyone is going to react when he walks into a room. And the way he just took it like a champ, light as a feather. Literally, he was so excited to be there, and like, it just made me feel kind of sad too, because it's not fair for him unless he's happy. Like, I hope he's really happy. I gotta move on from this topic because I think I'm really laying into this one, but anyways, his name was Justin, by the way. And Justin, if you ever find your ears on this podcast, I just wanted to say that you literally were just such a ray of light. And I'm so happy that we got to meet you. You were just awesome. And I loved your outfit. And I hope you're doing well. And I hope that you know that you are amazing. Anyways, basically, I'm going to get into a new segment called What's Poppin'? And this is going to be when I'm talking about pop hot topics. Let's get to it. So, first bullet point I wrote down, because, through the week I take a few notes. I notice what's going on, everybody's talking about, what's in the news, what's all the buzz. And I noticed that rumor has it Gypsy Rose Blanchard and her man Ryan have split. She got married while she was in prison. They only had like 2 months together in the real world, but they were married while they were in prison. And they've broken up. It's a damn shame. She's just like me. She's just like us all. She got back with her ex-boyfriend. She was seen getting tattoos, and she was seen out smoking cigarettes. And all I can say is I'm really happy for Gypsy. From someone who watched the show The Act on Hulu, I genuinely am like only hoping for the best for her. Other than the fact that she low-key like concocted a plan to kill her mom, even though her mom was like, I don't want to say, I'm not saying she deserved it, but I'm saying God's timing is always right. Like, I know it's bad to say that, and I don't think anyone deserves to die, and like obviously that was like a really bad scenario, but I'm glad that Gypsy gets another chance at life because she had Munchausen by proxy, which is where your mom shoves a bunch of medicine down your throat and like creates this entire vision of you as like a sick kid and treats you as so, and like goes to endless doctors, and it's a real mental, like it's a mental illness. This is a real thing that moms do. Anyways, happy for Gypsy. This ex is going to break your heart and you're going to want your other guy back. So I just want to see how this plays out. Mark my words that she'll get back with Ryan again. Anyways, next bullet point. Speaking of people that haven't split, conjoined twins Brittany and Abby married Josh Bowling. That happens to be the name of my first boyfriend in high school. All the letters are spelled the exact same. And I think it's interesting that it's tagged with this headline. So basically, if you guys didn't hear, there's two girls on the body of one person. They share legs, and they all have, well, yeah, they share legs and they have each an arm. And there's obviously a head, like there's two heads on a body, and they are conjoined twins. I'm sure there's like an interesting special out about them on TV somewhere, but I haven't been able to watch one, and I might watch one tonight just to learn a little bit more about like their condition, their life, their experience. And they're not the only documented case of conjoined twins who have like lived successfully as a pair and coexist. Obviously, they make it work. Like, they're not the first detected first reported case of that happening, so it's very interesting. But yeah, I just kind of want to think about that entire process of like, basically, one of them got married. Essentially, when you share a body with someone and you are, your consciousness is separate. So your experiences, your thought processes, and your brain, like synapses, is that the word? Is that a word, or am I just trying to be smart? I don't fucking know. Anyways, is different, I'm assuming. So I'm going to state the obvious. Everyone's thinking it. Obviously, the one that married Josh Bowling is hooking up with him. It's her husband, so she's gonna do what she gotta do with her husband. But it makes me sympathize with the other twin, because what does she do? Close her eyes, close her ears, close her spirit, her mind. Like, can she feel, oh my God, this is getting to be too much. But I'm just wondering if she could feel like the sensation down south, or what really it, like the metaphysical, in a metaphysical sense, like what does that truly feel like, her experience. And I honestly want to hear from her, because in a sense it feels almost unfair to her, even though I know that it works. But essentially they're in a throuple. I said it. Essentially the three of them are dating, and they're always going to be in the conversation. Like, he cannot talk to just both of them, because ears are going to be on, like they can't turn their ears off. And honestly, I think it's kind of sad that the other one has to endure that. Hopefully that one gets a husband too. But if that one gets a husband, then that's becoming like a weird orgy, weird situation. And I don't want to call it weird, because I'm very grateful that I was born with one head. But I feel a sense of discomfort knowing that it may make the other twin feel discomfort. Anyways, moving on. Hopefully you guys have heard like a baseline of these stories, because I'm kind of just talking about them like everybody knows what I'm talking about. There is a mommy vlogger who is uber religious, and I don't know if they're members of their Latter-day Saints, which are technically Mormons. I think it's like a branch that has evolved or mutated off of the Mormon church that is now become like religious extremists. And this woman named Ruby Frankie basically has a family of 6 kids, and her husband, they used to have a YouTube channel called 8 Passengers. And essentially what she would do was like record day in the life of her and her family. And it was very obvious that they were like conservative, religiously structured. The mom had a really interesting choice of discipline, which also contributed to their like tracking online and their views and how they got exposure on the internet. People are like, wow, that's bizarre. Like, her parenting styles were just bizarre as can be. And she would restrict food from her kids, and like the patterns got very strange. And essentially her and her husband got divorced because she got involved with this group called Connections, which was ran by this lady. Jody Hildebrandt was this woman's name. This woman was like the power head, or like the nucleus of this whole operation. And what this operation was she was teaching these women that there are people surrounding them that they care about that are like evil and rotten at their core, and they deserve to be like punished, essentially tortured. So what this woman, Ruby Frankie, does eventually is move two of her youngest children. I believe they're like 8 and 12. I'm probably wrong. 10, 12. I'm not sure. They're younger kids. She moves them to this like actual compound in, I think, Arizona. Very deserty, red clay area. Mountainy, unfamiliar looking terrain to what I'm used to. But she moves them to this house that has just like huge empty rooms. Like, it has no one in it. It's desolate and scary looking, and there's like safe rooms. It looks like a torture chamber practically. And what Ruby Frankie starts to do is punish her kids. She makes them carry like boxes up and down the stairs over and over again until they like bleed and are in so much pain that they're being tortured. She makes them like walk without shoes in the hot beating sun at a cemetery to pick up glass and like other shrapnel on the ground. And she would put like ropes on their hands and feet and like restrain them and like tie them down and essentially just like beat these kids down. And she was journaling the entire time. So this woman's journals got leaked, and she was like, I gave them food today. We put cayenne pepper and honey on a bandage and wrapped it around his like ankles because it was bleeding. Like they were treating it with like pepper, which was going to burn. Like they were torturing these kids. And she basically got arrested with a bunch of federal charges and is going to go to jail for an extensive amount of time for basically child abuse, child neglect and abuse. And I'm sure there's other federal charges that are involved, but it's just very interesting to see this case play out. And I'm interested to see how the evidence also comes out. I'm also interested to see how the care and upbringing goes for these kids that are in these rehabilitation states that feel guilty, like they believe that they have done something wrong because they've been so systematically like talked into being bad. Like you are bad, you are bad, you are bad. If someone tells you that long enough, you're going to believe it. So I'm a little worried about these kids and how they're going to evolve, and I'm really hoping that they have a decent support system because damn, that's horrible. Anyways, moving on. I talked about that forever. But speaking of like sus, let's talk about all of the pedophiles in Hollywood. Yep, I use that word, and I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for using it because I feel like it's like such a word that you get like your video taken down or banned for. But no, let's talk about it. Basically, this documentary came out on Nickelodeon recently, and it was called Quiet on Set, which I think was a really good title. I think that it's kind of like shows that the title's from like an authority figure who is saying quiet on set, aka it has dual meaning. Quiet because hush up to all these kids that were getting like manipulated, abused, physically abused by these people in powerful positions, and also just like quiet on set, like the term that people use obviously on set. One of the things that came out from the documentary that was pretty noteworthy was Drake Bell's confession of one of the people who were his mentor and his acting coach or his dialogue coach during his Nickelodeon days when he was like 17 years old, was an older male figure who like isolated him from his parents and became this father figure to him, who coerced him and like did all these horrible things, allegedly, even though he did it. Basically, the case went to court. He didn't get in any trouble, and he ended up working for Disney Channel. Long story short, from watching this documentary, it sort of unravels that there's a lot of child predators that work in the child entertainment TV industry. And it really makes you think about all these child stars who have gone through these transitions, these evolutions, and you'd see them kind of go off the deep end. And it's like, what pushed these girls and boys to go off the deep end? There's so many deep-rooted stories, like Amanda Bynes, for example. She's so shrouded in mystery. It's very obvious she got into drugs, and it's very obvious she lost her way. But I just want to know what led her to that. Clearly, like, she was in a place where she felt like she maybe needed that. And it's sad to see the effect and toll this has, like, the children working in the industry. Like, a lot of these kids were providing for their parents. They were the breadwinner of the family. And their parents, they were just cash cows, technically. They were like giving Addison Rae. And it's really sad to see how they become. And I'm just like very grateful in a sense that I had a normal childhood, but I'm also wishing I could have got that bag, but I would have never done it at the expense of my safety, my well-being. And long story short, there's a lot of pedophiles that work with children, and they need to be shot down out back because they are bad. Moving on. Miley Cyrus's mom, Tish, allegedly has drama with her daughter Noah Cyrus due to the fact that Noah Cyrus used to hook up with her current husband. I think this story is really weird, and I want to say it's not true, but where there's smoke, there's fire, and nobody's denying it, which makes me think they don't even want to give like any credibility to the claim, but they also, by ignoring it, are looking like it's true. I can only hope and pray that the 24 daughter of Miley Cyrus's sister essentially is 24, my age, and Tish is older than that. She's her mom, are not having relations with the same man. I think that's gross, and I hope that's not true. Moving on, there was a bunch of conspiracy theories swirling the web about Princess Kate, Princess Catherine in the UK, Princess of Wales. Everyone was saying, oh, she got a BBL. She's down for the count. I thought she maybe had like a hysterectomy. It was a very mysterious situation, you know. The royal accounts were posting on her behalf, but it was like a weird editing jobs were done. They were like there was some murky water surrounding all this. So people were starting to get skeptical. They're like, they're doing what they did to Diana. They're after Catherine. They're after Kate. William cheated on Kate with this girl and they had to kill her. And people were going insane on the internet, as they do, because the internet is unwell. And long story short, she comes out, says she has cancer. Like, everyone shut up. Like, obviously I contributed to all the jokes and stuff because I thought it was like hee hee ha ha, but it takes just something like this to realize everybody took it too far. This is a very sad thing to happen, and I feel guilty. I'm to blame, and I'll take ownership of that I liked a few tweets thinking it was funny that people said she was getting a BBL. I don't know, I thought it was funny. Anyways, cancer's not funny, and wishing her the best. Moving on. A really popular topic at the moment seems to be JoJo Siwa's resurgence. She claims to have been reframing her career lately, which means she's gonna try to transition to having an older audience. Actually, truthfully, all JoJo's doing is wearing black instead of rainbow sparkles. She's still wearing sparkles and diamonds, but they're black and gray and monochrome. Instead of being like bright rainbow colorful for kids, she's like, I'm gonna mute all these colors and I'm gonna become a bad girl and do some bad things. And anyways, she doesn't necessarily have a good singing voice whatsoever, but I think she has a following. And although everyone's always clowning JoJo because it's so easy, she makes it so easy. Like, she makes it so easy. I always will respect her because when she stood up to Abby, when Abby yelled at her on Dance Moms, and she said, well, if you yell at me, I'm gonna cry. When she said that, the world stopped. Abby said, get out. Someone finally sassed Abby enough for them to she couldn't even look at him anymore. She read Abby to filth, and I honestly I see JoJo as a strong little girl and a misunderstood little girl, and after watching these girls on Dance Moms, I actually genuinely only want the best for all of them. I follow all these girls that used to be on Dance Moms because I started watching that show when I was like 10 or 11. I'm pretty sure it came out in 2010, and I was 10 in 2010. I remember like just idolizing these young girls and seeing them technically grow up like on my TV screen, seeing them be bullied by Abby, beat down. These girls are crying on TV. I felt like I knew these people. So, long story short, I support JoJo, and I know that she's always just out there doing the most, like actually the most. But you gotta respect her. I mean, she's been on The Masked Singer. She's been on that show where they do a bunch of dangerous stuff in the military special forces. She's been on Dance Mom. She's been on Dancing with the Stars. Like, this girl is a powerhouse. She's able to dance, and good for her. She's laughing all the way to the bank, and every time someone makes a video of her, all she hears is ka-ching. Moving on. Morgan Wallen throws a chair off the 6th floor of a rooftop bar in Nashville called Chiefs. It lands directly in front of a couple police officers. Morgan Wallen gets charged again. He's given bad boy. He has to go back to the jailhouse. And he has to take another mugshot where he looks kind of good, I ain't gonna lie. But I don't usually say that about him. But in that mugshot, I was like, mama, I'm in love with a criminal. Morgan Wallen's a dumbass, and he threw his chair because allegedly he read that his girlfriend, who he cheated on, got engaged to someone else. You lost your chance. You had your moment. You had your time. You throw a chair because you mad. Why? You not get your way? Interesting. Anyways, that's weird that he threw such a hissy fit. Hope he gets well soon, get some help. Honestly, I'm kind of loving like the bad boy of country vibe on him. Like skinny, white, scrawny bad boy of country. He's kind of serving like daddy's boy, but he's also serving excellence because he was on that X Factor. I don't know if you guys remember. Morgan Wallen was on the X Factor, and maybe it was The Voice. I think it was The Voice. I don't know, but I know that he didn't start as a country singer, and he has so many bangers. Like, you can't help but think this man has so much talent, and he constantly has this clown behavior, like bizarro behavior. He does something embarrassing, like hooks up with a college student or like something stupid, and obviously all his fans forgive him, including me, because he makes banger after banger. I mean, last night was my number one song, and I'm not scared to admit it. I love that song, and I could listen to it right now happily. I never got tired of it. Moving on, I wanted to bring in a segment called Grins and Gripes, and if you are a former listener of Homie Trinity, you will know that my hometown newspaper has a column called Grins and Gripes. Your grins are your positive accolades to people in the community who you just wanted to shout out, say, good job, you're doing this well, or to say, thank you for this, or holla back, girl, this person did a good job at something. And then there's also the gripes, which is my neck of the woods. Basically, the gripes are when you say, I hate that, that's bad, no, tomato. That's when you don't like something and you wanna gripe about it. So people submit grins and gripes, and I'm going to do that about my daily life. I have a few grins and I have a few gripes written down, and I think I just want to share a few with you guys. My grin of the week is printed magazine subscriptions. I'm not sure if you guys know this. I actually subscribed to a bunch of magazines this year, sort of as a resolution, because I wanted to start reading magazines. I feel like it's a lost art, like the printed magazine culture. I can't pick these up. But look, I have all my Vogue magazines, my Harper's Bazaar magazines, and I think it's just kind of fun. So I encourage you all. It was very cheap. I think it was literally it's like $6 for 12 weeks or something. I don't even know, but I have Vogue, very fat. Like, there's stories, there's interesting things. Also, did you know that the brand Miu Miu is made by this woman who is associated with Prada, whose name is Miuccia Prada? So her brand is Miu Miu, which is her nickname. I just learned that. Very interesting. So that's one of my grins, is just like the joys and pleasures I get of reading my physical print copy of newspapers lately. Very much newspapers. I'm not reading newspapers. I'm reading magazines. Anyways, I always wanted to work for a magazine growing up. I thought that I would be like Jenna Rink in working for Poise and like Sparkle Magazine and 13 Going on 30. I wanted to be like an editor-in-chief. I wanted to do brand marketing. I loved fashion. I love clothing. And I do work in fashion right now, but it's kind of like, it's a lot to call it fashion. It's kind of retail, but it's not really. It's corporate retail, which is like e-commerce is what I work in. Anyways, moving on. We don't have to talk about work. Moving on to gripes. I really just had one grin. I don't really have much to compliment lately. There's been some good stuff, but I don't really know. Grin to Megan for buying me toothpaste at Target. Venmoed her back. Very grateful for her service. Anyways, a gripe. Let's see. My current gripe is someone who's salty. Someone who's a little bit disappointed. Someone who's projecting. And there's someone who's mad that I'm in my friend's wedding and they're not. And they were saying, I can't believe Kat got to be part of the bridal party, but I didn't. When I heard that, I said, they don't know about us by One Direction. That is the song. They don't know about the things we do. They don't know about the I love you. She doesn't get it. It's cool. Girl, you're mad that you're not in the wedding and that I am. Why did you pick me as your interchangeable spot? Why am I the one that you were going to be in it instead of? I'm higher up on the totem pole than you think, baby. Anyways, moving on. And she may have said it all in good fun, but she did unadd me on Snapchat and unfollow me on Instagram. And all I can think is, I'm glad I don't take things that personal. I would not have done the same thing. If it was me, I would have been happy for her. And I just hope she gets well soon, because ain't nobody doing well mentally if you're unadding people at this age. We 24 and you mad you're not in a wedding and you unfriend one of the bridesmaids. Get well soon. Anyways. Another one I have is, and I'm guilty of this, so I'm griping at me too, is people who overshare on social media. I'm big on the written letter. I'm big on get a diary. I think that it's a lost art, writing in a journal. I think people will be like, oh, I'm journaling. No, write in a diary. Really put your feelings in that. And I think we need to get off TikTok. We need to get off TikTok reposts. We need to get off of the infographic that indicates you're sad on your story. All it does is just reek of desperation, and it almost seems like, who are you doing this for? Are you doing it for you, or are you doing it for your perception of how people are perceiving you, how you want to be looked at, how you want to be seen by the public? It's like, who is this for? What are you proving? And I just worry about people who overshare. I know I am very guilty of this. When I was a teenager, I would put a sad thing on my Visco so that my ex-boyfriend would know that he made me sad. Now, we're getting old, wrap it up, write it down, put it in a bottle, let it float. Another gripe I have, and I wrote this randomly this week because it came to me, is the game Mancala. I've never understood the game, or is it Mancala? Michaela? How do you say this game? Mancala? I'm Googling it. Hold on. How do you say Mancala game? Oh my god, it came up as Michaela, the name. Oh, it's still doing talk to text. Stop talking to text. The game with marbles called Mancala. Beach. Wait. Came up as Michaela again. Okay, it's spelled Mancala. It looks like this. Oh, whoa, Spinny Town. That's Mancala. I don't know how you say that. Mancala. Long story short, all the smart kids when I was little used to play that game and thought it was fun. There's a wooden board with a bunch of little holes in it. It looks like a deviled egg plate, and it's supposed to be where you move the things. I never understood how to play it. My sister tried to explain it to me. Bored. My smart friends tried to explain it to me. Bored. Is that a game for smart kids, or were the dummies playing too? Because I was left out of this because I felt like I just didn't meet the criteria mentally. I didn't have the mental acuity to follow the instructions to know how to move the marbles in this game, and honestly, I couldn't be bothered. So that game is honestly on my hit list. I never understood it, and I never honestly wanted to play it. It looks so boring. Where's the tokens? Where's Candyland? Where's the visuals? All I see is a wooden board. All right, last one. Actually, I have two more. Another gripe, and I know this has turned pretty negative pretty quick, but another gripe of mine is the concept of making slime. What is slime? Slime, the word, was introduced to me by Nickelodeon. It was the green thing that splashed up and really just ruined everyone's day, and we're all supposed to pretend it's funny, but it's honestly just a really kind of gross. And if I was one of those celebrities, I would have been like, ugh, I heard we're getting slime tonight. This sucks. I would not want my outfit, my makeup, my hair to be ruined by this green goo, and I felt bad for them. But anyways, there was this movement on TikTok during COVID where people were making slime. Okay, you made a big pile of goo. What are you going to do with it? Do you just throw away your slime? Do you just poke at it every day? Is it ticky tack? What do you do? I don't know. I don't like the slime industry. I think it's what do you just have buckets of slime and sitting around? Do you throw it away? Hashtag what's up with slime? What's up with it? I know it's for the kids, but when adults were making slime, I was like Jojo Siwa was making slime. What is slime? Anyways, another one of my gripes. ASMR. I hate that shit. I hate, if I hear someone do this, wait, they tap something with the glass, or they're making a tutorial on TikTok where people hold something up and they tap it with their nails, or they breathe into the mic. You just sent shivers down my spine, and I hate that. It's not soothing. It doesn't have any appeal to me. I really truly just I'm not part of the ASMR universe, and I worry slightly about those that are, because you like being whispered to. This feels like it has an underlying strange vibe going on, and I don't want to be a part of it. Anyways, getting into another segment, TV time. I'm going to talk about the TV I've been watching lately. Nothing too crazy, but I've been watching King of Queens. And if you don't know what King of Queens is, it comes on cable. My family has YouTube TV. Fortunately, I watch it on my iPad. Say I'm traveling, I get to log into my mom's and my dad's. And I've been watching this show. I think it comes on TV Land at night. It is with this character named Doug Heffernan, who is a UPS worker. He works one of those package delivery jobs, and he's kind of plays this dopey, funny, heavy guy who loves sweets and snacks, and has a group of guy friends, and he's basically just a big dummy who's hilarious and lovable and likable, obviously. And then there's Leah Remini. Her name's Carrie on the show. Carrie is kind of a naggy bitch wife. If you listen to the Toast podcast, you'll know that reference. Naggy bitch wife. It's when your wife is just up your ass. but she's also loving, endearing, and has good times. And like, it's just such a good show. It's such a feel good show. I love a show that'll make me feel like I'm home on a windy Thursday afternoon in 2009. And my mom, I can hear like the faint overhearing of like my mom watching it in the background, and I'm eating my snack at the countertop. Like, I watch these shows so I can be basically connected to a version of myself that no longer exists, which is the version where I didn't have to pay any bills, was under the roof with my loving family, and watched a bunch of comforting TV shows and enjoyed it. Had no responsibilities, great times. But another show that I watched recently that I love, that's also giving like cookie cutter, like not cookie cutter, that's not the right word, it's giving sitcom, is Reba. And if you're not watching Reba, what are you doing? I could recite every episode word for word. Every episode teaches a lesson. Every episode makes me giggle. Every episode has love, heart. It has all the things that a good sitcom needs. So if you needed a suggestion for what to watch before bed, because, you know, or if you have a nightmare, you wake up and you need to be cleansed of your nightmare by watching something peaceful and soothing, watch Reba. You won't regret it. All right, another thing that I feel like I'd be remiss to not talk about, Love is Blind was shot in my hometown. Actually, it's not my hometown, but it's the town that I'm currently living in, which is Charlotte, North Carolina. Love is Blind featured a bunch of... If you don't know what Love is Blind, you're living under a freaking rock, and I'm not even going to explain it because it's a big phenomenon in culture and the media. But what's interesting is it is based in Charlotte, so my friends have actually seen Sarah Ann, Jeremy, and what's the guy that looks like that little blob from that? Jimmy, who was with Chelsea. They've seen him out. And one time, if you've been watching, you'll know what this means. My friend saw him out with that girl best friend of his, the one he had sex with, and then made Chelsea feel bad about bringing up. And long story short, if you're dating someone who has a girl best friend and they've just casually hooked up, they just hooked up before, but they're best friends, let them be together. Break up with him. He wants her. He doesn't want you. Break up with him. He wants to be with her. He wants to have sex with her. He wants to have sleepovers with her. He wants to talk to her. He wants to chat with her. He wants to talk to her instead of you. And just know that. So if your guy has a girl best friend, yeah, they've just been friends since they were little. They're soulmates and you're not his soulmate. Anyways, moving on. The Bachelor. This season of The Bachelor was pretty good. I think Joey is one of my favorite bachelors that has ever been to be. Okay. He is kind. He's warm. He's genuine. He's reassuring. He's confident. He carries himself with poise but humility, and I can't say enough good things about him. I think that he made a great choice picking Kelsey. I was honestly rooting for her in the end. I could tell that their connection was genuine, and I'm loving their TikTok content, so I'd love to see how this relationship continues. I'm hoping they get married. I think they're engaged, but I think that they need a little bit more like real life experience and real life time before they actually know if this is going to be their life partner. I think you guys need to get to know each other. I think you guys need to live together, see how the person eats, breathes, sleeps, eats, breathes, sleeps, bathes, does whatever. Like, you need to live with this person, be around them, soak up their vibes, and see if you're still crazy about him at the end. But I think they'll be good. If she doesn't want Joey, like, I'm here. Like, I'll be with him. Anyways, another show I watched recently, which I'm obsessed, is Severance. I saw a TikTok that was giving, like, you know how sometimes on TikTok you can watch a movie or a TV show and it's like part 33 and everyone's like, chop chop movie boy, like, post the next clip. I got into this realm where I was watching an episode of this TV show called Severance, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm just gonna watch this myself. I'm just gonna turn it on my TV and start from episode 1. So I would have liked to do that. Yeah, I would have liked to do that. Nah, I had to buy like $15 Apple TV subscription to watch this show, but listen, it was worth it. It was worth it. This show is so interesting. I'll repeat it. It's Severance on Apple TV. I bought a trial, canceled the trial, paid $15, whatever. I'm gonna blow this candle out real quick. I'm a little worried it's gonna burn the place down. Oh my god, it fought back. It was like a trick candle. But anyways, so the premise of this TV show is, it's sort of like Don't Worry Darling-esque, or it's one of those shows where someone's consciousness is essentially split. So these people decide to undergo this procedure, or they don't decide, called severance, where a part of their consciousness goes to work every day and loses all their memories of their personality and who they are in the outside of work. And then they also don't know they don't know who they are outside of work. So when they're in work, they're like, have this identity crisis every day. Who am I? Where am I? What's going on? Why are things the way they are? I don't understand. And it was just a complete mind F. And I said mind F so I don't have to edit the F word out in case my parents listen, or my younger cousins or anything. But I recommend that you watch this show. I'm not going to give too much away, but if you want a little preview or something, go on TikTok, search Severance on Apple TV. Very good show. So I wanted to keep the whole genre going of this undergoing a procedure to have your brain separated, and I searched Netflix for Severance to see that shows that were similar. And a show with Paul Rudd came up, and it was called Living with Yourself. So essentially the plot of this show is Paul Rudd goes to this spa that looks kind of like a front. You walk up to it, it looks unsuspecting, and it's a $50,000 procedure. So he feels just in a rut. He feels down and out, he's down on his luck. And he heard from a friend that if you go to this spa, you'll walk out feeling renewed. He gets there, he sees one of those football players, Tom Brady. He sees I was like Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, I was going over all the Toms. He sees Tom Brady walk out, and so he's like, this must mean business. I need to get this done. So he goes into this place and he undergoes this procedure where they essentially are making a clone of him. Cloning is illegal in the show, but at this place they do it, where they clone your body and they make you a better version of you. And your old body, they just bury it. It's dead, it's useless. So the new body is ain't no miles on this here new body. It's a new body. And the new version is smarter, better, whatever. It has all your memories connected to you, but it doesn't have the feeling and true essence of your experience. So this man wakes up, the old body of him, they screw the procedure up, and he wakes up, and then his new version exists. So him and him coexist, but they kind of battle it out. Very interesting. Very much recommend. All right, everybody, we're going to wind things down here at Cat in the Chats. It's been a wonderful episode, and I'd like to thank you if you got this far. I'm surprised, but I'm grateful, and I want to thank you for listening. I have a lot to come for this. I'm hoping that I improve on the tech stuff, my verbiage, and my extensive knowledge of pop culture. It's only going to grow from here. I'm going to have tons of guests to come, and I really hope you continue on this journey with me. If not, ain't no worries. Ain't no worries. Do your thing. But if you listened, I just wanted to say thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye.